All right, welcome back to the Unapologetic Podcast. Well, the Unapologetic Ride Podcast. So, kind of what we ended off with single mothers and
went to
toxic masculinity.
Toxic. I can't even say it because
I know.
I must be toxic.
Does it exist?
Apparently not on my tongue.
I mean, like, to be quite honest, let's be honest here. I really don't feel like it exists, bro.
It does exist.
It does exist?
Us Hispanics, you know what I'm talking about? We know about this. They call us mandilones. They call us tóxicos. It is a real thing.
Yeah, but what does that mean, right? Like, what are we saying here when you're toxic?
Okay, so machistas. That's what it's called in Spanish, machistas. So in Spanish, it means when you try to put a woman in their place no matter what. Like, dude, you expect women to be washing your dishes, doing your laundry no matter what. You are toxic. Get it? Like, that's very. I feel like it's too much. Like, yeah, you go to work, but you don't do shit. You don't wash your dish. You expect a home cooked meal. You like everything clean and stuff like that. No matter what, I feel like it can happen to a degree, right? But when you're pushing it, and if you don't get it, you're very like blunt about it and aggressive, or like
Interesting.
Your mood is offset. Like
okay. I mean, I could see that.
Or you're very demanding about it. If you get that.
Just the thing, like, I mean, I get that part. Yeah, sure, but like, what defines toxic masculinity and what defines being an asshole, right? Like, where's the fine line there, right? There has to be a fine line regarding that, because I feel like when people nowadays say toxic masculinity, they're talking about more like, obviously, like manspreading and like, again, I guess it is putting a woman in their place, but at the same time, like, isn't that just an asshole? Like, isn't that just what we used to call an asshole? A dick? Like, someone who's just a piece of shit?
I feel like assholes are like the guys that if the woman tries to hold their hands, they kind of like just tug it to the side. They're just like kind of like, oh, no, I don't want to hold hand. Like, while like you're a masculine man, like, or toxic masculinity expects you to, like, hey, you can't look at nobody. You're fucking like, you're stuck to me. You're around my arm and that's it. No matter what, you don't be looking at nobody. You have to dress this way. They control everything.
Okay, yeah, I could see that, but then again, isn't that just a control freak, right? Like, couldn't there be a woman who tells that to a guy, right? And toxic
masculinity is control. It's like having control, complete control. Like, right, they can't go out shopping without like being all covered up, or they can't go out shopping by themselves. They have to be there with you, like anything like that, because they don't want to have nobody look at you. They want to be everything like that.
Well, yeah, I get that, but then can we say toxic, like, womanity or whatever we would call it, right? Feminism, toxic feminism, right? Because you know, there's been those girlfriends like back in our days where it's like, oh, I don't want you going out because of this. I don't want you at the bar because girls are looking at you. I don't want this. Like, right? It's kind of like the same thing.
I just feel like,
and it's like you can't wear a tank top because there's other, like,
that's their own separate. They're gonna have their own separate show.
Right.
For the women, they have their own separate show. We're gonna get into that because
I know, but
there's flaws on both sides.
Right. But I'm just trying to say, like, what is the definition then of toxic masculinity, right? Because that same thing that you just said can be used in the woman's shoes as well.
And that's a toxic woman.
But I don't know. I feel like toxic masculinity is something more.
Now, the whole manspreading that you're saying and stuff like that I feel like is coming from a feminist standpoint.
Right, and that's where it's coming from, though, right?
Now, if you want to, I'm just saying what I think toxic masculinity is. I'm not. Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, to me, that's just like, because toxic masculinity was not a big thing until feminism came around. I feel like, right? Like, no, like, dude, the thing is, do you remember Jay back in junior high? Big J. So he, right? Remember him? He used to sit like that, bro. Remember him?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like nobody ever said anything like that, right? Like there was girls always sitting around him. Like nobody ever said anything in those kinds of terms, right? Like it wasn't toxic masculinity. It was just Jay being Jay, right?
I feel like it became that is them just trying to have control. That is not. I don't consider that toxic masculinity. I feel like manspreading is just something we normally do, and they just looking for stuff to pick at us. Like that's.
I see what you're coming at. I get that, but yeah, I don't know. Like I just see it as
that's like me calling women toxic for showing cleavage.
Yeah. Well, right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. I mean, that's exactly what feminists are doing, right?
Yeah.
Like
so
that's.
It's just nitpicking.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. Like for me, toxic masculinity, I would have just said, hey, that's just an asshole, bro. That's just a fucking. I don't know. Like when I used to see that kind of a person like walking, right, like the super popular kid back in high school, and he has like one of the hottest girls in the school, but yet he's over here flirting with this other hot girl, right? Like that. I don't know. I never called him toxically masculine, right? I just said, oh, dude, that dude's just a fucking asshole. Like I don't know. That's just my definition of that.
Well, I feel like that is just transitioned the word.
Sure, yeah.
Like everything has evolved, right? Like,
right.
Remember there used to be, oh, hey, that's cool, and it became it's lit and it's fire. And
yeah.
It's just a transition of the word.
Right.
They're very much an asshole. It's very much still the same shit.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Like, because my problem is
they're just so there definitely is toxic men, but there's toxic people in general.
Right. But like the thing with toxic masculinity and that subject for me, which is the problem, is this feminist stuff that is being put onto us, right? Because again, like I said, and like you just mentioned, right? There's always going to be toxic people, always assholes, right? As we would call them, always people who would be like, hey, you cover yourself, hey, you can't go out, control freaks, right?
Yes.
That has always, I feel like, existed. My issue with toxic masculinity is the feminist version of it.
That they're making it too much. Like they're they're pushing little things that don't even have anything to do with it.
Right.
I feel like
saying that, hey, you know, that's just a toxic man, like because he's manspreading, right? Like I remember when manspreading became a thing, bro, back in like I feel like that was end of high school for me, maybe like early college for you, I can't remember, but I remember they were saying something on the fucking New York subway. Oh, dude, this guy was manspreading. Yeah. I was like, I laughed at that. I was like, what the fuck? And it actually became a fucking thing. Like they kept talking about it, and that's a thing, right?
The thing
like,
is that you cannot tell a feminist anything without them saying, "Oh, hey, you're showing toxic you're being a toxic masculine."
Right, and that's what I'm saying, and that's where I have a problem with it too, is because, like, with a feminist, if I like exactly what you said, if I go to her and say, "Oh, you're showing cleavage," oh well, that's, you know, this culture, that culture, like you're just looking at me like a piece of meat. No, yeah. Then how can you qualify me as that, right?
And I hate that because, right, like they say that you're looking at me like a piece of meat, like. I'm sorry to say, like, I'm not sorry, but it's funny for me to say it, but are we not all meat?
I mean, genetically, humanly, like, composed, yes, a human is just a bunch of muscles and skin.
Tell me a shark is not gonna look at you like a cheeseburger?
Oh, 100%. Shark is eating your ass
like
up no matter what. Oh, like, 100%.
You're a piece of meat. It doesn't have no gender. I'm sorry, but we are pieces of meat.
We all are, absolutely.
But it's funny how they phrase that, but at the same time, it's like, if you don't want to be seen, then don't go out.
Well,
which is not putting them in their place either. No one's saying it's just everybody is in the world. Everybody has eyes. I'm sorry, I don't know what you want.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, just going back to our last episode, right? Like, obviously, no. Like, don't get me wrong. Women should not be, like, just sexually abused necessarily. Totally.
Or seen as a sex object.
Right. I do 100% agree with that. Although, if you're on OnlyFans and posting that shit there and showing it off and being super sexual, then I'm sorry, you are sexualizing yourself and it, right? Like, that's just what it is.
Then you're not allowed to say, hey.
Right. Like
you're not allowed to have that kind of opinion and say that, hey, don't look at me, or like, hey, you're over-sexualizing me.
Exactly.
It's dude.
But that's what I'm saying with the manspreading thing, right?
It's like me, like I'm looking back and I'm remembering this video that I saw, that it was like, women don't expect men to men supposedly to women, right? Men expect women to put it out on the first date because they paid for dinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's, first of all, real quick, that's not true at all, from my perspective, at least.
Okay, yeah, but then at the same time, they expect the man to pay,
right,
for the first date.
Exactly, and that's kind of, again, it's this contradiction that happens when they said, "Oh, you're manspreading, and I'm showing cleavage," but those are two totally different things, right? Like, yep. That's not toxic feminism. That's just me being a woman and being allowed to show my breasts if I want to. And sure, if you want to, then that's fine. Like, that's on you. But you can't be telling me I can't sit there wide-legged, right? Like, I'm sorry. We have... Like, hold on. The other thing is, what is stopping a woman from manspreading? Can't they... They can do the splits, right? Why can't they sit wide-legged?
Because then they get over-sexualized.
Okay. I mean...
So wait. So here's my thing. The women that are complaining about manspreading, are they over-sexualizing us?
Yeah. I mean, I would say so, right? Because it's all about our genitalia down there, right? Like, that's the reason we would spread.
Could that be a harassment complaint?
Absolutely. I think it could 100% be.
Should that not be? Like...
I think 100% it could be a harassment complaint, because that's bullshit, right? That's just not fair. It's not. It's a two-sided die, right? If we're gonna be equal, which is what feminists claim, again, going back to it, right? This is the thing is both of these episodes have a lot to do with feminism, because, you know, single mothers, feminism kind of tied together, toxic masculinity. Like I said, your definition I do understand, but to me that's just an asshole as well, right? Just with a modified name, right? Like an altered name or a new name that has come about, right? But that's always existed. My problem with toxic masculinity is this bullshit that they're putting out there, that we are being toxic by being a man. Like, I don't understand how that's even possible. Like, I'm sorry, yes, I am a man. I have genitalia between my legs, and if I want to spread my legs, and like, I'm not like, when I spread my legs, I'm not saying, hey, look at my shit down there, I'm gonna like come and just like,
nobody's
no,
do anything.
What? Like I said, Jay, dude, you remember Jay, dude? That dude used to sit more than... Dude was doing the splits while he was sitting. Dead ass, 100%. You remember that shit. Right? And he was the nicest kid. I don't think he was ever looking into a woman like that. He was just sitting like that. That's just his... I don't know. Like, I just don't get it. That's where my problem comes with.
I just want to know where they got this whole... toxicity, like where did that come from? Where do they see these toxic men? Is it because the relationships didn't work out, or is it because they couldn't control the guy, and so hey, it's a toxic man?
Right. Like, and the other thing is just like, what? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's so hard for me because it's super frustrating. Like, we've talked about manspreading quite a bit, right? What's another toxic masculine trait? What else did they say that is toxic masculine, right?
That we only want sex.
I mean, that's absolutely untrue. Like I said, I mean, there are men, absolutely, but not all men, right? There are certain men.
Dude, I just find that argument so stupid. You want to know why?
because they want sex too. But
no, not even that. But my thing is, what do you fucking expect when you're teaching? You have porn, you have teaching sex ed. You're a teenager. Of course you're gonna like. I just don't get it, man. I don't get that bullshit. I don't.
But that's what I'm saying though, right? It's not necessarily always just the man too, right? That is doing that shit. Like that is just something that all like even women at that age, right? Like when you're hitting that time, that age, I feel like that's just what you're doing. Like I don't know, like you want to experiment, you want to see what is this? Why am I bleeding? What is this thing in between my legs and how does it feel and this and that, right? Like it's I don't know. And I'm not saying like a guy should absolutely go up and just,
do stuff.
Yeah, no, that it is a partner. Continue it. You might have to.
So nobody walks out in public and says, "Hey, I want to go fuck."
Yeah.
No, nobody works like that. Nobody's mentality works like that.
I mean, unless
you're mentally wrong.
You might have like a sex addiction or a problem, and we recommend you going and talking to someone and getting help if you need that, right? Like, I absolutely don't believe that anybody should be taken advantage of. I don't believe anyone should, right? Like,
but it is okay. Sorry, I'm going back on it. But I feel like that's what it's seen as. Like, hey, we're all monsters. Like at least to the feminists, okay? We're monsters, and that's all we want, and that's what we think about, and that's on our mind, dude. Which is crazy because in reality, we're very I feel like we're very logical people, and like a lot of the time we're just focused.
Yeah. I mean, if I am with someone and I'm in a relationship and we've both asked each other and, felt each other out, like said, hey, how do you feel about this? What are we doing? Like, are we taking this to the next step? Then, what's the problem with that? Like, I don't like, it's okay to ask that, right? Like, it's okay to ask my girlfriend or whatever to be like, hey, what are we feeling? What are we, do we want to progress to that? Do we not? Do we want to take it back? What, like, you know what I'm saying?
And if it's not even like, so even if it's not, it's like a chemistry. If we're vibing with each other, and if we're really truly feeling each other, and it just kind of flows together, and we go into that kind of situation, then it can go into that situation. It doesn't have to be like something that is awkward or like. I don't think it needs to necessarily go to one direction.
See, and like, I'm also just reading, like I told you about, toxic masculinity, right? Like, we talked about manspreading quite a bit. And this is something else that's, being talked about as toxic masculinity is misogyny and homophobia. So real quick, I don't understand, first of all, what is this car doing, real quick? What we passed here like 6 times, bro. What's going on? God, dude, what is up with this homie? Anyways,
he's trying to catch his girl cheating.
You think so?
No, it was a girl. She's trying to catch a man cheating.
Exactly. There we go. But okay, so misogyny, right? The thing is, that leads on both ways again.
Dude,
it happens in both directions.
What exactly is misogyny?
All right.
Misogyny.
I mean, it says is hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against women. So let's see. Someone who's mad spreading on the subway, is he hating women? No. Is there contempt? No. Is he prejudiced against them? No, because first of all, a woman can manspread if she wants to. She can sit there and spread her leg. Like,
I just feel like
that's being used so lightly.
The whole thing of having hate towards a woman, like they're saying, there's a difference between having like legit hate and just hating somebody's personality. I feel like there's a difference between that, because you could honestly get along so well with somebody, but as soon as their true colors come out, you could hate the personality, and what do you say? Oh, I hate you as a person. Does that lead into you hating women? No, you just hate their personality.
I mean, listen, dude, if someone actually hates women, then that means they hate their mother and or their grandmother or their aunt or their sister, right? Like, that makes no sense. Like, in what world? Like, I'm sure there's some sick fucks, right, that need some help. Like, let's be honest. I'm not gonna be.
You're not counting for everybody. You're not a.
Right. I'm just talking about the average population, the general population, right? Nobody hates women. In the last podcast, we talked about how women are so special and how we actually truly, like, we love them. Obviously, we couldn't be here today without them.
Exactly.
So,
and I feel like every man has, well, majority of men have to agree to that, right?
Absolutely.
That, hey, we would not be here without the women. So I don't get where that word even comes into
misogyny.
Dude, I can barely say it. Misogyny.
Yeah.
God, my lisp acts up. And
It's all good.
But
it's all good.
I don't get it. I don't get why it's even become something that's brought out to the public like that. Like, it's an excuse. That's what I see.
It is.
There is no argument. So you make up this. You don't make it up. You use this word so it can defend yourself, and then it's not even a good defense. There's nothing about it like that. Absolutely. That makes sense.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Because listen, ultimately, at the end of the day, like I just said.
Okay, what's the difference of? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
What's the opposite?
I don't even know if that even fucking exists.
What's the hatred to men?
I don't even know if that exists, to be quite honest with you.
If it's all 50-50, there has to be the opposite, right?
I mean, it should be, right? Oh, it's called misandry.
What?
Misandry is the hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against men.
Okay, so then we can start claiming that then.
Oh, absolutely. Like the feminists, right, who are attacking men, they're misogynistic, right? Like, I listen, I'm not a fucking vocabulary. Yeah, exactly. Like, listen here. I mean, I'm just saying, right? Regardless of the fact, it goes both ways, right? If you're telling me this, then you're hating against me and all men. Right?
Look how badly that is. So they're exactly what they're saying against men because they're hating. Oh my God.
Exactly. Well, bro,
what a contradiction, dude.
Well, again, I'm sorry. That's why I like a lot of the feminist ideas are contradictions towards themselves. We already talked about it. The manspreading. There's the contradiction of cleavage or dressing slutty, right?
Or doing
OnlyFans, adult work, right? Like, listen, you're doing this exact opposite, and then calling us misogynistic, or, well, not us, you might call it, I don't know, we're not, but, like, you are then hating against men, which means you're doing the same thing.
Yep.
So it is, I just don't get it. It is literally, it makes no sense. I don't get it. And another addition to toxic masculinity that I read was homophobia. How does that even come into it? How does a man, being a man, go against people who are homosexuals? That's okay. I have nothing against them, dude. If you want to do that, you do that, man.
Now, there's a difference between just not wanting to be part of something.
Exactly.
Like, that's fine.
Exactly.
You don't
like,
have
I
to
don't
be part of everything. Like, there's so many different groups. Like, okay, that doesn't make nobody a homophobe or anything.
No. I have a few friends who I absolutely adore who are that, right? They are gay and they do like men, and I have no problem with them. I really don't. Like, if that's what you want to do, what I do, like we said earlier, communicate. I communicate to them, listen, I am not
part of that.
That's not what I do. That's not what I like. I do not like men in that manner. I like you as a friend. You're a good friend of mine, and that's that.
Now, the thing is that there are people who don't like it.
Sure.
But that's fine. Everybody can have their, like, they don't have to like everything.
Sure, but how does homophobia lead to toxic masculinity is my question, right? How does that make you a toxic male?
Just because, I guess if you don't agree with it and you don't follow it, then you're toxic.
But I'm attacking another male then, right? If I'm homophobic, I'm attacking another male. How are you toxic towards another male?
You're not just attacking a male. You can be attacking a lesbian. I guess that's
sure,
input, right?
Sure, but I mean, but that's my point, though, right? Regardless of the fact.
Yeah, I think.
Right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. Like, toxic masculinity for me does not exist. This is something that has been put out there by the feminist movement.
Now, if it were to be put how I started it. Okay, I can understand it more because that's more reasonable, right?
Sure.
But
that's what I'm saying, though.
Listening to the
definition,
it's kind of ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. It's not fair. And see, so I'll continue this just, to give us a little bit of context. It says it can be considered toxic due in part to their promotion of violence, including sexual assault and domestic violence. The violent socialization of boys often normalizes violence, such as in the saying, boys will be boys about bullying and aggression.
I'm sorry, I'm not fapping here, okay? I'm fucking smacking my hand to my forehead.
I don't understand.
Wow. Boys being boys is misogyny.
Right? Like, I mean, no, dude. Like,
oh my God, man.
I just don't understand it.
I think then what they're getting at is men cannot play football. I'm sorry.
Because we're tackling.
No. Men cannot do boxing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, women can't do boxing or football either now.
Right, if we're going to be 50-50.
We're going to be 50-50.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it does, and that's what I was telling you at the start of the podcast, right? Like, I think toxic masculinity has this special definition, and it is a special set of traits that the feminists have put out there to make men look bad. Like I said, what your definition, I totally agree with you. Absolutely. But again, to me, those are just assholes, right? Those are just general dicks. And I don't agree with those guys either. That's the thing. I don't agree with them either. I don't agree with, I don't know, like, if there is actually a man out there who actually hates women, which we know there are, I don't like that man. Don't get me wrong. I do not like him. It's not, dude, like, imagine someone coming up and being like, hey, I hate your mom, or I hate your grandmother, or I hate your aunt.
It's like I'm telling you, there's a difference between hating someone for their personality and hating someone for
who they are, for
the
their
gender
being.
they are.
Exactly.
I've never heard anybody say I hate you because you're your gender.
No, never.
Dude, I'm getting into this, but there's red pill YouTube that you go on and you can view. None of them are saying I hate women.
No.
They hate the persona that you have and what you're giving out. That's not hating women.
And persona, to be clear, is kind of like your personality, right? It's what you're giving out. It's who you act.
It's
and
your
how
ego.
You act.
It's the ego that you have.
Exactly. I mean, listen, that right there, again, like you said, I'm sure there is a man out there that actually does hate women. Okay, just like there is a man out there who actually hates homos.
But if you don't have you can't claim that every man is that. No. You can't claim any man that is against you is that.
No.
And you can't, I feel like you're attacking it if you don't know the backstory. What about if a man was raped by a woman? What about if he had a very difficult childhood by a woman and they legit hate them because of it? That's not
But again, they hate that specific person, right? They hate that specific person who had committed the act towards them.
Now, if they hold it to the rest of the women, that's on them.
Exactly.
Because they're scarred. I'm sorry, that's trauma.
I mean, just like everyone has trauma, right? We all have trauma in different ways, right? Like, that's the thing. And that's what I'm saying about toxic masculinity and feminism, right? I, again, state, I am for the equality. I am for you working the hard jobs that men do. I'm all for you making the same amount of money. I'm also all for you for joining the military, right? Like, absolutely all for it to be 50-50, like we have agreed on. Like, that's, yes. We want that equality. I want that equality for everyone. I get it. But if you say that, like, I'm telling you to go to the military and now I'm or toxically masculine, like, excuse me? You're the one that's fighting for the rights, for the equality, bro. I cannot with this. Like, this subject gets under my skin completely. Because it's just, it makes no logical sense.
It's just absurd.
And like you said, there is, in both ways, there's contradictions, right? We proved 2 contradictions just in a matter of minutes, right? With misogyny and misandry, right? There is that contradiction. There is also the contradiction of the manspreading, right? Like, again, the cleavage, the this and that, right? Like, I just don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. Like, what? Please, if you are still, like, have a thought against us, or you know, you want to be open on, you know, clarifying certain things to us, please clarify to me, what is the problem of spreading my legs? I still don't understand. Like, I hate to keep going back to it, but I'm trying to understand, what is the problem there?
I just don't get how that's...
Like, if I'm sitting there reading a book and I just spread my legs, how am I being sexual towards anyone?
Okay, I just don't get how that's toxic, right?
Or toxic.
Toxic masculinity. I don't get how that is. So, what? Here's my point on that, right? If that's toxic masculinity, then you're showing toxic femininity when, I believe that's how you say it, when you go on OnlyFans and you show everything. Would that be it?
Well, they'll probably argue no, because then the men are paying for it and they want to see it.
Okay, so is that prostitution?
No, because there's no sexual act, is what they would say. That's what they would say. There's no sexual act there. That's like going to Pornhub.com and watching porn, right?
But there is a sexual act on porn.
Well, sure. I mean, you're watching sexual acts happen, but you're not committing the sexual act, I guess. I guess that's the difference between... I mean, that's what they would say, I assume.
So, can a male claim that you're harming their process of growth and their... Because how is it that you're ruining their image of women by having OnlyFans? Could that be a crime?
I mean, I'm sure it could be swung in many different ways, right? But hey, you're gonna be looked at as a toxic masculine.
No, well, either way, well, it's toxic femininity, no? To be on OnlyFans and actually receiving payment for something that...
And see, this is another argument they would come at you, is they would be like, oh, well, there's men on there too, and women paying to see these certain men.
Well, actually, I feel like the majority of guys on there are actually, like, this is not to attack anybody, but the ones that are paying for men are actually other men.
That absolutely could be.
That are homosexual.
Yeah, and then that's fine. Like, that's totally fine. If a man is putting himself out there and asking for payment, and another man is watching, and that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like...
But, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I feel like it's ridiculous that men are paying for that and we're still getting called...
toxic masculine and misogynistic and so on and so forth, yeah.
If that doesn't show you that there's more than enough appreciation for women with how much millions they're making, that's
a great point too, right?
It just shows that you just want to be on the receiving end of that, and you're not.
Honestly, you just brought up a great point. You know, like if you're making millions of dollars, right, or even thousands of dollars. I mean, if you're making any money off of OnlyFans, I'm sorry, but listen, that should show you that certain men love you, right? Like, there's men that love you, right?
There's a reason why the porn industry is a multi-million-dollar company.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, I just don't know how that shows anything in misogynistic, right? That shows that men love women. I don't know.
If anything, right?
But then, you know, like,
but then you're
sexualizing. Yeah, then you're sexualizing.
Aren't they sexualizing themselves?
Yes, they are, and that's what I'm trying to say is, like, you are absolutely sexualizing yourself. I don't like. You can say, like, dude, if someone goes onto OnlyFans and sees a woman, like, clicks on the woman's video where she's riding a dildo, right? What the fuck? How can you tell me that's, like, you are sexualizing it? What? I don't understand. I don't get it.
You're putting a paywall between it. Do you not? Then don't make that an offer, I guess. Like,
right, don't put that up then. I don't know.
Now... Oh man, that's a tough one, man, because it's so ridiculous to me.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like I said, I don't know. Like, are women putting up OnlyFans for other women to watch them? No. Let's be honest. No. Women are doing that because they know men will pay for it, because we love women, right? I'm not saying I've ever paid for it. I'm just saying we love women. Those men will be paying to see a woman. Like, what? I don't understand. So they're not misogynistic, right? I don't know. I don't understand.
It kind of falls into other categories. I feel like it's a trap. It's just a trap.
It absolutely is. It's an unfair trap to just make us look bad,
like the villain.
Right. It goes back to that where it's like everyone wants to play the victim.
Everybody does want to play the victim.
Right? Because if you're the victim, then you're not in the wrong. But let's be honest. Usually, if you're playing victim, then you're not the victim. A victim is a victim, right? Like, you gotta be a victim.
Yep.
But if you're playing victim, you're not the victim. You're doing something shady there. You shouldn't be playing, right? You shouldn't be playing.
Oh man.
That's not something you can play about. That's not something that's okay. Many people are getting their lives ruined.
Yeah. Due
to certain things like that. And it's just not, I don't know, it's just not fair. It's just, I don't understand it. I really hope the world can calm down, and I hope that everyone can be equal, and that everyone can love each other, man.
Dude, I don't like society right now, because we've even come into a place where, like, it's a woman's word against a man's, right? Like, and for a man to be able to go to prison off a woman's word because she said that he did stuff, that's insane, man.
Yeah, I don't know, that's a touchy subject, and that also goes back to just the way our government is.
But if you think about it, right? If everything goes in the man's favor, oh, hey, that's a misogynist.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Again, like you said, it's a trap. It's an absolute trap. It's not fair. I don't know why people say certain things like that. I don't know why people act that way. I don't get it, man. And it's ruining our world today, right? Because even if we take this off of feminism and toxic masculinity, like, let's look at, like, the race issues, right? How is anything gonna be fixed if, let's say, a race is saying this other race is hateful still, right? I mean, you're only going to cause, like, this anger because the other person's like, I don't hate, you know, yet you keep saying I hate, but I don't hate.
Yep.
And it's this cycle, it's this loop, and we will never have peace and freedom and equality if we keep doing this to each other, right? Like, we just all have to realize that, sure, there are weirdos, there are assholes, but that is not the majority. Majority of people, majority of women, majority of men, majority of Asians, blacks,
society,
Latinos,
society,
everybody. It's just the majority of people are okay. Majority of people are nice.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, maybe you catch them on a bad day,
I
but
feel like it's just people are going out in the world and just expecting the worst.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. Like, what are we teaching our children?
How do you live like that? Like, how can you? Like,
well, what are we teaching our children? Right? Like, it's only gonna get worse. Because they're gonna see this. They're gonna see, like, hey, these two factions. We'll say, right? Because we'll talk. You know, I'm generalizing it to everyone. So two factions are going against each other. Well, shit. I gotta be in one of those factions. And shit, I'm gonna cause more. And shit, that's gonna trickle to their children.
How is this like not a like? How do they not see like you're causing a scary society here?
I don't understand. I don't know how they don't see it. I don't.
The world is becoming very, 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 very touchy.
Very touchy, and to be honest, very, very, very scary, dude. Yeah. Like, you think about it, even, like, I don't know, man. It's like, even, imagine just, like, I don't know, you just go out one day, right? And one person just loses their shit that's on the other faction, be it a woman, be it a different race, be it a whatever, be it an alien, be it a cow, be it a lion, right? And attacks you for no reason. You're not a hateful person. You're someone who accepts everyone. You're someone who loves everyone. And you just get attacked. And so now how can that family, for example, from said person, or let's say that said person survives, how can he go back to being okay and loving everyone still? Right? Like, do we not see that, people? Do we not understand?
We're creating our own hate.
We are creating our own hate. And it's bullshit.
And it's against each other, and it's sad.
It's always against each other. And it's really sad, because it's like this is happening on multiple levels, right? This is happening men versus women. This is happening even Democrats versus Republicans. So politically, this is happening, I mean, in everything. Like in everything, like in sports. Wars. Oh, this sport team versus that sport team. Wars, power grabs. Even the tech industry. Look at like Elon and all that shit, right? It's just an attack on all aspects of life. We're getting attacked.
Like, how do we not see that everything is just we're trying to destroy each other, and it's stupid, man.
I don't know. I think certain people see it, certain people don't. Certain people want to see the world burn. Unfortunately, that's just what it seems like, right? Because I just don't get it. I don't understand how someone can have hate towards someone without, like you said, if you hate someone specifically, it's because of a specific reason that they have caused either harm to you, they've said something rude to you that you really didn't like, they've done something to your family, right? Like, it goes on and on.
Yep.
But there's a specific reason for disliking a certain person. But that doesn't mean I dislike that person and their whole family. That doesn't mean I dislike that person's group, right? That doesn't mean any of that. Doesn't mean any of that. So, yeah. I don't know.
We're going to get a lot of stuff
Listen,
from the feminists.
And that's fine. Listen,
Bring it on.
I would love to talk to some feminists, because I just want to understand. I just want them to explain some things to me. Again.
Let me see your viewpoints.
Right. I just want to see your viewpoints. I want to talk to you.
I'm going to be completely neutral, right down the middle. Like,
as I always am.
Yeah.
As we've always been. That's kind of what we introduced in our first podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's how we were able to become such good friends and be these, I guess, quote unquote weirdos who think differently, right? Because we are able to accept everyone. We were able to accept each other.
You bring me the best points, and I'll take it. And I'll see. And I'll translate it the best that I can through my eyes. And we'll see where we go from there.
But also, I do want to state this, right? Like, if we do talk to a feminist, right?
Just prepare to be open.
Well, and be civil. That's all I want to say is be civil, right? Like, we'll sit there and listen to you, but you have to sit there and listen to us and just let's have a civil conversation. Let's not yell at each other. Let's not get mad at. Let's not get frustrated. Let's just talk to each other. Let's just be like, hey, you're gonna tell me something. I'll be like, okay, well, what about this? And then you'll be like, well, that is not included because of X, Y, and Z, and we'll go from there, right? Like, I don't want anyone's hurt feelings. I don't want to hurt anyone. I love everyone.
We don't have to break our heads over this.
No, absolutely not. We're not supposed to break our heads. This is just
trying to understand each other.
Understanding the world, essentially, right? And why this is happening. Like, that's one thing that we've always had as a problem, to be honest. We always try to come up with a solution for the world.
Dude, do you think the United States... Oh, sorry, I'm completely going somewhere.
Oh,
but,
no.
like, do you think it's only the United States dealing with this bullshit?
No. I will tell you that right now, no.
No?
Absolutely not.
What do you think?
Oh, absolutely not, dude. You look at the European countries now and what's going on over there, and the type of attacks people are having to go through. It's not. It might have stemmed from here, but it's happening.
The feminism?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge thing. Sadly and unfortunately,
it's spread.
It's absolutely spreading because, again, I think social media has a large portion to that, right? Because again, these algorithms. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Just these algorithms that Instagram, Facebook are employing, right? You see what you want to see. So if you are a feminist, you're going to see toxic masculine people doing toxic masculine things, which only makes your hatred go stronger, which only makes you get angrier and more feminism, and then you know what I mean? Like, it's just this constant cycle. And the thing is social media, right, is across the globe now, right? I think that's what the problem is we're seeing too much of what we want to see. And that's why we cannot form our own opinions, right? Because imagine you were a little kid, right? And you only saw let's say 2 + 2 and you said equals 5, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's pretend you're going to school online and everywhere you looked, 2 + 2 = 5. What would you come out and believing? 2 + 2 = 5.
You follow your sheep.
You follow your sheep, and you look like, we as humans, I mean, although a lot don't have common sense, we are still logical, right? Because I don't think logical and common sense is equal. I think common sense is being able to use logic and come up with a proper solution to it, right? That's common sense to me.
Yeah.
Logic is saying, hey, I've seen this 1,000 times. Okay, that must be it. You know what I mean? But that's the problem, and that's why it's happening in the whole world, right? Like Europe, Asia, like South Korea's dealing with the same thing. I feel like Japan is dealing with it. China is not, because they control their social media, right?
They control all their media.
They control all their media, exactly. Which, again, is good in some senses, but absolutely fucking horrible in other senses.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's what I think. Sadly, like, I mean, I've noticed it. That's why I was off social media for 2 years, right? 3 years now, because I would get on there and it's like all I would see is cars that I want, houses that I want,
half naked women.
Yeah, it's just like the things that you want to see.
Yeah.
And when you don't see the things you don't want to see, you see like people posting some bullshit which you don't agree with, which is all right to not agree with, but you can't post your opinion because then you'll get attacked. Right? Because like if I go on there and I'm like, yeah, I don't agree with you, so and so, and they'll be like, oh, well, you're a piece of shit, this is why, like nobody can have an open mind anymore. Nobody can have an opinion. And it's just not fair. It's just not fair. But I don't know. So yeah, I think it's happening everywhere, sadly. I think we as humans need to really reevaluate our lives.
We're fighting the wrong cause here.
We absolutely are. I mean, this will be another podcast which we'll talk about, but like we're only getting into like AI, right? And computers and all of that shit. And you've seen some of the stuff that I've shown you.
Yes.
We'll talk about it on the podcast, and we might even throw in some examples, in the videos or something. We'll see.
Yep.
But like, I just think that social media is being used for the absolutely wrong reasons. At least the algorithms, right? I think social media should absolutely just be totally unbiased. I don't think there should be an algorithm, but that's not going to happen because they make money from those algorithms.
Ooh, we're gonna.
So we'll tackle that in another one.
That's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we'll tackle that.
Social media has its own freaking agenda, man.
Absolutely. We can tackle that in another episode because that's a huge. Absolutely, all media, right?
All media.
Media has always had an agenda. There's never been an unbiased side.
We're coming after you, media.
Yeah. Well.
You hear that, Fox News?
You hear that, CNN? You hear that? All of these guys that are. Yeah. No.
You too.
I mean, everyone. To be honest, everyone can get the smoke. I'm not gonna lie.
Come get it.
Because
I'm about to do some Pusha T. No, wait. What's his name?
Yeah.
Pusha T. Right?
Pusha T.
He's the one that went up against Drake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, R.I.P. Drake.
I don't know, bro. I haven't heard of Pusha T since then, to be honest.
Yeah, they canceled him.
They canceled him. But like I said, anyways, kind of, I don't know if you want to wrap this up maybe, but
yeah.
I just think that this
one was tough.
This one is tough. Again, women, we love you. Feminists, we want to talk to you.
I want to understand.
I just want to understand.
Like,
I want to get the points.
I want to understand. Like, was there trauma? Maybe. Like, I don't know. Like, I really want to understand.
I mean, hopefully we can get one.
Down to earth, please.
But that's the thing. Listen, as soon as we notice that you're starting to raise your voice, start getting like a temper and this and that, we will probably just cut that episode and not even air that. Yeah. Because that's not what we're here for. If you listen to us and our podcast,
we're not gonna make you look bad, but we're also not gonna
we're not gonna let you
this shit either.
Yeah, we're not gonna let you just shit all over us too. It's just not fair. Simple.
I feel like an understanding is necessary.
I just want to understand your guys' viewpoint. You want to understand ours, hopefully. Hopefully, that's the hope, right?
Yeah.
That's the hope that we can understand each other and talk to each other.
I feel like that's the whole point, right? Isn't that the whole point, that we try to understand each other?
I mean, that's the point, but do people actually want that? I don't know. I think a lot of people just want their agenda, right?
I think everybody wants to smoke.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're bringing the smoke to everyone. The smoke show will be going.
Where's the hookah?
No, but seriously, in all seriousness, we just want to understand. We want to talk to you, but again, only if it's civil, only if we can communicate like humans are supposed to communicate. If someone's getting angry, if someone's getting hurt, we're just going to cut that. We're not even going to talk, and we're going to go on our own ways. Because at that point, there's no point.
There's plenty of other things to talk about in this life. There's plenty of other things to talk about in the world that is going on that needs to be changed. There's so much change.
I mean, you look at it like,
we need change.
Can you believe that there's still hungry kids with all of these millionaires and rich people? Like, listen, that could be a whole again.
We need Tupac's changes to come into fruition, because it's just too much. Humanity just needs to really get back onto a good path, I think. Can we get a reset?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, can everyone just be equal? Can everyone just love each other? And can everyone just have a good time? Like, that's what life is about. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue, right?
One life, man. One life.
Exactly. Let's go enjoy it. Let's smoke some hookah. Let's drink some drinks, and let's just chill.
Let's go skydive.
Yeah. Like, I mean, life is way too short for people to be attacking each other, Everyone needs to just enjoy it.
Yep.
But on that note,
we're gonna call this one.
Yeah.
We're wrapping this up.
Sorry actually, I'm not sorry. We're unapologetic. But listen. We do want to understand, though. We are unapologetic because this is our true thoughts.
This is how we think.
Listen, real quick. We can maybe throw this at the end of this podcast. Why And what does unapologetic mean? And why are we calling it the unapologetic?
Cause so it's our inner thoughts, the truth. We're not closed off to saying what we want, and that's how we came to be.
I totally agree with that, and with that sentiment, right? It's simply just the fact that we're not apologetic because we can't be, right? We're trying to understand. We're trying to learn these things, and we're finding contradictions, and we just want to, just an answers.
And we're coming from, there's a reason. We're being very honest so we can get honest answers.
Right. Because if as we see on, again, right, any sort of medias and stuff, if they're feeding us lies, then you see that lie, you go and feed it to someone else. That said person feeds it to someone else. And it's just this, everyone's just feeding each other shit.
Yep.
Right? Which is not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do here is be unapologetic so that we can just talk the truth. Just speak the truth.
Get to the truth. And hopefully, you know what? It'd be great if one of our podcasts could lead to certain solutions. That certain people could watch this and be like, hey, you know what? That's right. Or even to just even read in the comments, just like go down it and get your own opinion from it. But don't feel like you need to follow everybody, because there's so many people thinking different types of ways. Just come to your own truth.
Listen, I think
what you believe.
I think that's a great topic that I want to talk about next. Is personal opinions. Personal thoughts and opinions, and how that's being shut down, and how the herd mentality is taking that kind of over.
You hear that, Trump? You get the smoke.
Absolutely. Everyone is getting the smoke. Everyone. Listen, guys and gals, we are here simply to talk the truth and have a good time. And hopefully, like we said, have you form your own opinion. You don't have to listen to my opinion. You don't have to listen to G's opinion. You just have to listen and form your own opinion, right? If you think we're wrong, great. Put that down in the comments, or come over to the Discord and
let's chat it up.
Yeah, we can just chat it up, or we can even hop in a voice chat over there.
Yeah, let's hear what you got to say.
Yeah, there's no problems, and we'll sit there and we'll listen to you. That's the great thing about me and G here. We are great listeners. We will listen, and we won't attack you for your thought. We will just give our own opinion, our counter opinion, if you want us to call it, and you can make your decision from that, right? Like, if you think then that you were still right, great, that's fine. Go on your merry way, and we'll go on our merry way. We're not gonna attack you for that. So,
exactly.
So yeah. So, anyways, calling that.
Subscribe, follow the Discord.
Just
leave a like,
comment if you have any thoughts, ideas, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Yep. Catch you later.
Peace.
Peace.
I like it.